20 years ago today, Hurricane Katrina made landfall in Louisiana and Mississippi, as we know, breaching levees heavily in New Orleans.
And to this day, Katrina is the most expensive hurricane in U.S. history and one of the deadliest, killing nearly 1,400 people.
Our Steve Pickett joined photojournalist Billy Sexton to take over for J.D. Miles and his crew, who was J.D. was injured, by the way, while gathering firsthand stories of the suffering and the damage.
And tonight, they are reflecting with photojournalist Mike Kinney on what they remember about covering this event that the nation, none of us, will ever forget.
I have covered everything from tornadoes to war. Actually went to Iraq, left Iraq, and just a few months later, there was something called Hurricane Katrina. And I got a phone call that said, JD is down, we need you to go.
Steve and I ended up at Airline Highway and Causeway Boulevard, which is outside of New Orleans. It's in Jefferson Parish in Metairie, Louisiana. At that one point, boats were coming down Airline Highway because it was flooded.
They were bringing senior citizens out of a location.
Nice and easy. There you go.
And then they just dropped them on the off-ramp. 90 degrees outside, just scorching. Frankly, those people were going to die if somebody didn't do something.
There you go. At one point, Steve loaded up the car with some people who needed to be evacuated someplace.
I have been to war, I've been to forest fires, I've been to tornadoes. New Orleans was the only place where I had to stop being a reporter and help somebody live. We had one of the few vehicles in that area, so we had to stop and do that. Otherwise, God knows what would have happened to them.
The only place to take them was a little bit further down the road at I-10 and Causeway Boulevard in Metairie. And there was just this huge area of people being evacuated. I mean, a helicopter would land, people would get out of it, it leaves again, going for more. And I remember a woman holding up a sign and yelling at the camera that, "I'm okay."
Today is a good day. It's a beautiful day because we's getting out this madness.
The convention center was deemed a rescue location. It was far from it. It was worse than anything I saw in Baghdad, because you don't expect to see that kind of, frankly, depravity, the use or non-use of response for people in your own backyard, in America, in an American city, in New Orleans.
Today they're taking you where, did they say?
They ain't say. They said to the airport, then we go to Texas from there.
We gotta find our family.
We gotta find our other family.
The word used was refugees, Katrina refugees, because they were essentially being rescued and sent someplace else. We understood very quickly why it was deemed offensive. There was a woman right there at the convention center. Amazingly enough, all the hell she went through, that woman had a broom in her hand and she was sweeping the streets, and she stopped and she looked at us, she looked at our photographer and said,
One thing I want to say, I'm not a refugee. I am a United States citizen, okay?
I'm very careful not to call them refugees. You know, I mean, these people were evacuees, they were seeking shelter, but yeah, that woman definitely set the tone, and she had a lot of strength. I mean, and all the chaos going around her. Can you imagine the mess all around New Orleans? And she's doing her part on this little part of the sidewalk and street in front of the convention center.
To see that woman sweeping that street and to stop and point at us and demand that we give her respect, I'll never forget.
So growing up there, you know, and being part of most of my adult life there in the New Orleans area on the North Shore Lake Pontchartrain, I had no idea what happened to my family there. I knew my mom had left town because I had told her to leave town, but I didn't know the condition of her home. I had a brother there, cell phones were down, you know, I couldn't get in touch with him. But working through all that, I think continuing to work there and be there was good for me because I could still be part of the community, tell their story, make sure they get you know, the word gets out, this is what's needed here. Find my friends to make sure they were okay, and then found my brother and his family. You know, to go back there now, it's hard to even know that it ever happened. Some of the areas that were really hit hard, that were close to Lake Pontchartrain on the North Shore, were completely leveled. You couldn't even tell there was a neighborhood there. It was just a giant field of debris. It's flat. I mean, there was nothing left. But today, it's built back. If you grew up there, hurricanes are part of the life there. But I think it's just a strong feeling that that's home. And they're not going to give it up, you know, come hell or high water.
Some of our own colleagues, in their own words, and proof positive that despite doing this for a living and being the sharer of stories, no matter how difficult they are, at the end of the day, we're all in this together because humanity is simply humanity. That's where those guys ended up.
And that's such can be the forgotten part of your job when you're in the moment. You can forget that part of it, but you know, it hit hard for Billy, it hit hard for Steve in different ways, and it's something none of us will ever forget. It's hard to process it even 20 years later, but it's one of those things that we'll just never be able to move away from.
If you happen to jump in the middle of it and you want to watch the full story, please feel free. CBS News app, you'll find it under the Texas section.